Hey, what's happening? I'm driving to McLaren, which has become all too common lately. That's our local big hospital. So I figured since I had a second, I'd share a story with you that a lot of my friends and family know, but I don't mind sharing it with everybody. Last September, actually, let me back up. I'm going to go back to July or August, about a year ago, 2024. I was having difficulty in breathing, only under exertion. So if I mowed the lawn or whatever, I'd be out of breath. I mean, out of breath, like I was working out or out sprinting. So that went on for, well, until late September, when I finally got to a point where I had to do something about it. I knew that it had gone too far when in late September I woke up one morning and I couldn't walk from the bedroom to the kitchen without being so out of breath that I felt like I was going to pass out. I decided I needed to do something around the house because I wasn't going to be able to work outside that day, so I went. I was going to change some outlets or whatever, so I walked out in my garage, grabbed a screwdriver, walked back in the house, and literally sat down on the floor because I almost blacked out. Pretty scary experience. So anyways, I went to the emergency room. They did a CT scan with the dye and all the stuff, and this is kind of skipping a bunch of steps, but they found out I had a bilateral pulmonary embolism, which is blood clots, blockages in both lungs where it feeds oxygenated blood back to the heart. Pretty serious. A lot of people die from it. I was pretty fortunate that I made it to the hospital in time and all that good stuff. So that was very fortunate. I felt very blessed about that. Let's see, I went to Sparrow that night. I was there for 3 days. I was on an IV drip of, I don't remember what it's called, some super blood thinner. And I felt way better, I mean almost instantly. Within a few hours of being on the IV drip, I felt great. I mean, as good as I had in a long time. So, long story short, they did some tests. They found I had a blood clot in my leg, and and I get out of the hospital. I'm feeling good. I have to take a oral blood thinner, which, come to find out, probably forever now. And I get home, and I start visiting the hematologist at McLaren. That was kind of the next step. And come to find out, why this happened to me is I have a genetic mutation called Jak2, JAK2, and what it is your bone marrow produces too many red blood cells, which leads to clotting. And I have to get blood work done at least once a month. And if my hematocrit is high, which it oftentimes is, I have to go and receive phlebotomy, which, for those of you who don't know, phlebotomy is basically they hook you up and they drain a bunch of blood out of you. I think they take like 500 cc's out every time I go in. It's definitely not my favorite thing in the world to do. It doesn't really affect me that much. I feel fine afterwards. It is what it is. But I'm dealing with this situation now where I have this Jak2 mutation along with what they call Polycythemia Vera, which, don't feel bad, I didn't know what that was either until a few months ago. And it's probably going to be something I have to deal with for the rest of my life. So I got to drive to the hospital pretty regularly for checkups. But I'm going to be 100% honest with you. All of you remember about 5 years ago when COVID was around. I am kind of typically I'm not going to say I'm an anti-vax kind of person, but I lean towards not doing anything that I'm not sure of. Anyways, as you know, I teach automotive technology at our county's Career Tech Ed Center. And we had some weird stuff going on at the time where, let's say you weren't vaccinated. Okay, you had not had your shots, the magic shots. And if you came down with COVID, it quarantined not just you, but our entire class. Every kid in the class had to quarantine for, back then, I don't remember when, 5 years ago, 5 days, 10 days, I don't remember. But what happened was I was not going to do the vaccine. I wasn't going to do it. And then one of our staff members got COVID and it quarantined the entire class. Now, most of the kids didn't really care because they got a few days off school. They got to sit home, play video games, whatever. It was cool for them. But for one kid in particular, this student, I'll just leave it at, he didn't have a whole lot going for him in life. He had a lot of trials and tribulations, family-wise, and he was in kind of an ugly situation. But he was a really, really good wrestler, and he was getting ready to tackle this. He was going to state finals, individual states, when this all occurred. And because of the quarantine, due to the staff member that got COVID, he couldn't wrestle at individual states. This was this kid's senior year. He lived for wrestling. It was his love, his passion. And because of COVID, I'm not blaming the staff member, because looking back on it now, little foreshadowing to my story, I wouldn't have gotten the vaccine either. But because of that, I decided to get vaccinated. I went and did it. And I've done a lot of reading and research from different sources, both pro and con, but there's enough evidence out there that states that a lot of my blood issue, such as Polycythemia Vera and Jak2, a lot of deep vein thrombosis and blood clots, and a lot of this stuff is being attributed to vaccine, in particular the Pfizer vaccine, which is what I took. So I did the first and the second shot at the time, thinking it was the right move. I now believe that I have a lifelong condition that I'm going to have to deal with, directly related to that vaccine. And I don't know how I feel about it. Am I angry about it? A little bit. This condition I have, as long as it's maintained and you care for it and you do what you're supposed to do and you take blood thinner and you avoid eating too much red meat, all the things, the life expectancy of somebody with this condition is indefinite. You can live your whole life. You can live a long life with this. So it's not like it's a death sentence, but it sucks that I've got to go get blood work every month. I don't even like needles, never have, and now I've been stuck more in the last 10 months than I was my whole life leading up to it, times 10. So just something I'm going to have to deal with forever. It is what it is. But I asked my hematologist in one of the early appointments, I said, do you think that this Jak2 diagnosis, this was right after I got diagnosed with Jak2, and I had no idea what it is. I still don't know 100% what it is, the ins and outs. All I know is the basics. But I said, could this be attributed to the COVID vaccine? She was hesitant to say vaccine. She kept referring to my question as if I were asking about COVID in general, which, whatever. She told me that more than likely I've had this Jak2 genetic mutation for a long time, possibly since birth. It's not genetic, like it doesn't carry on to your children, but you can acquire it at any point during your life, or you can be born with it. Doesn't necessarily mean that it came from a parent or that you're going to pass it on to a child. But anyways, she said that there's a good chance that I had this Jak2 for a long time, and possibly COVID or the vaccine just kind of exemplified it and brought it to light. So that was her explanation. I think that was a good explanation from her, being a medical professional, a doctor, trying to give me an unbiased whatever. But I believe that I have this because of the vaccine. And so that's where I'm heading today. I'm heading to McLaren Hospital for a checkup. Probably have to go get blood work in the next day or two. Probably got to go get phlebotomy because it's been a little while. Is what it is. Anyways, I just figured I'd share that with you guys. If anybody else has dealt with that or has Jak2 or any other blood condition that they think could be caused by COVID and or the vaccine, I'd be curious to hear what you have to say. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Have a good day.